The white man handpicks Africans. See, there's three types of Africans, right? There's the Africans, there's the Africans, and there's the Africans. Nobody's waiting for God to do anything for them but black people. And our overdependence on the Almighty Creator, who we all depend on, is going to be the undoing of us, because everything we need to solve our problems, God has already gave. Fear is the enemy of liberation. We are afraid. We are scared of white folks. They have us shivering and shaking in our boots. The reason no black leader on the...
What are some things that we can start doing that can start to change our minds and change our mindset? Besides, obviously, you know, having a black Jesus, but what can we start doing and teaching our kids and exercising daily that can start to hopefully get the next steps, right?
Break that
forward so that we can, so that in 5 years and 10 years and 15 years, we have some tangible things that we can say we've done. Because even when you look back, you see Juneteenth. I mean, that doesn't really, it's like kind of what you were saying, it's not really, it's not anything. It doesn't really mean anything. Even the verdicts, right, with Sharpe doesn't really mean anything, because we're back to where we were before.
Somebody still got killed yesterday.
George Floyd was
for being black and driving.
Exactly. So what are some things we can do that can really push the needle and move the needle in the right direction right now, right here?
Honorable Marcus Garvey said, the greatest weapon used against the Negro is disorganization. Kwame Ture Stokely Carmichael, one of our last great Pan-Africanists, said that if you organize a little, you get a little done. If you organize some, you get some done. If you organize a lot, you get a lot done. But if you don't organize at all, you don't get anything done. Marcus Garvey said African people globally are in the condition we are in, not so much due to the color of our skin, but due to the condition of our organizational skill. We are the least organized race. The Chinese is the most organized race. That's why they out front. The white man is the second most organized race. That's why he's number 2. You understand? And then you have the Arab and the East Indian fighting for the third spot. Nobody even considering the African at all. And one of the reasons why we cannot organize is because most of us are funded by white people, white institutions, white countries who do not allow us to organize along a revolutionary paradigm. One of the reasons your African leaders have not been more progressive is they are financed by the UK, the US, and France. How the hell can I organize my people for liberation when I am dependent on financial subsidy from the white man? It is absolutely incomprehensible that Africa has been the way Africa has been these past 500 years, and yet we are in debt to the reckless. How can the victim be in debt to the reckless? But if you look at the Francophone countries or the Anglophone countries, they're all in debt to the very man who them. And the way they got into debt to the very man who them is at the end of colonization, the reckless on his way out the door said, listen, I'm going to destroy everything I built in your country unless you pay me. And so the new African countries said, we can't afford for them to blow up the railroads. We can't afford for them to poison the water. We can't afford for them to sour the crop. So we signed these debt agreements with the former colonizer, not because we wanted to, but because we had to protect what little bit of infrastructure that was there. But the time has come for the African Union to grow up and become the United States of Africa and collectively agree that we're not paying any more debt to the damn rapists. How can the rape victim owe restitution to this? The same thing in Haiti. The same thing in Haiti. France back in 1825 issued the indemnity against Haiti. And so now Haiti is in debt to the rapist France because they threw off Napoleon's army, and France says we're going to sabotage you forever unless you get to pay us back for all that we lost as a result of the Haitian Revolution. African people are the only people who have successful revolutions and then have to pay the man that they overthrew.
Right.
Where do you find people paying the person that you overthrew? Part of victory is what? When you win a war, you don't pay anything when you win a war. The fact that you're paying the exploiter, the colonizer, the vampire is proof that you ain't free. Africa has a flag and anthem independence. Africa does not have true political and economic sovereignty. When I'm in South Africa, nothing bothers me more than to read the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa that says South Africa belongs to everybody who lives in it. Show me another constitution in the world. Show me any constitution in the world that says the country belongs to everybody who lives in it. That is ridiculous. South Africa is a black nation. How in the hell can it belong to everybody who lives in it? And when you look at that new African flag that they let the white people create, the color black is the smallest color on the South African flag. The ANC, who I respect the history of the ANC, not necessarily their current decisions, but the ANC, the ruling government, doesn't own a single gold mine. The ruling government doesn't own a single diamond mine. The ruling government doesn't own a single bank. How can you be a sovereign nation if you have no assets? How can a sovereign nation own none of the wealth of the country over which they claim to be sovereign? Here's what I'm saying. There's going to need to be a global African revolution. We got to do it again. You know what's so sad? That everything our brothers and sisters went through in the Congo, and everything our brothers and sisters went through in Jamaica and Barbados, everything our brothers and sisters went through here in the United States, we got to do it all over again because we messed up. We didn't close out the revolutions the way that we should have. And first of all, many of the revolutionaries were killed off before the negotiations. See, they had to get rid of Kwame Nkrumah before the negotiations, Lumumba before the negotiations, Thomas Sankara, Chris Hani before the negotiations, Robert Sobukwe before the negotiations, to make sure everything they lost in the war, they got back in the negotiations. And then what they do, from America to Angola, this is global. I don't care where you live, it's the same system. The white man handpicks Africans. See, there's three types of Africans, right? There's the Africans, there's the Africans, and there's the Africans. The Africans are the black bourgeoisie sellout traders.
Yeah, I've heard you say this before. So.
The Africans are the pessimistic Africans who don't believe we can overthrow racism. And the Africans, I can. The Africans, we're the revolutionaries. We're the ones who believe that not only is victory possible, victory is imminent. But you got to see it and feel it in your mind. And I want to be clear, brothers and sisters, this is not going to be a peaceful revolution. If you think the white man then killed, colonized, stole all over the world just so he can give it all up because you voted, or give it all up because you sent a petition to the United Nations that he controls, if you think he's going to give it all up because you marched and protested, you are crazy. The European power structure only respects three things: blood, money, and numbers. Blood, money, and large numbers of organized Africans. That's the only thing that will give white supremacy pause. As long as you pray, as long as you march, as long as you send your petitions to the white man's International Criminal Court, you'll never get anything from that. He don't understand that language. He understands blood, money, and numbers. So let me take a step back. We got to organize. Black men are not organized globally.
Nope.
Black women are not organized globally. How can you be organized globally when the number one issue for African people across the world is tribalism? Tribalism is the number one problem of African people. And guess what? It may have been intensified by the white man, but it wasn't started by the white man. Right. Tribalism was a problem in Africa before the white man showed up. All he did was use it to his benefit. And he's still using it to his benefit. Let me say this. I support democracy. I believe in democracy, but I don't believe in the white man's democracy. Let me say this. If voting people into office could end colonization, if voting people into office could end white supremacy, if voting people into office could end the exploitation of Africa's resources, if voting people into office could end police genocide in America, Canada, and the UK, if voting people into public office could change the inequity between white power and black power in this world, voting would be illegal. One of the greatest con games ran in Africa since the independence explosion of the 1960s is this belief that you can change Africa by voting. You are out of your damn mind. You know why people go to war? Why have you had wars? You've had wars in Africa before the white man. You've had wars in Africa. You know why people go? Why were there 2 world wars? People go to war because changing things and getting people to change is not easy. That's why people go to war. The reason people kill and get killed is because there's people who don't believe in fairness. They don't believe in justice. They don't believe in equity. If you could vote away your problems, there would have never been a war in human history. See, Black people suffer from post-traumatic slavery disease and post-traumatic colonization disease, which is nothing but white supremacy disease. We have these fictitious illusions, right? And also, Black people suffer from an extreme dependence on religious symbolism for political problems. In other words, we're waiting for God to send us a Messiah. In Ghana, they're waiting for God to send them another Kwame Nkrumah. Nigeria waiting for another Nnamdi Azikiwe. You see? In America, we're waiting for another Malcolm and another King and another Garvey. That's ridiculous. You know why we're waiting? Because in the Bible, God sends you the deliverers. God sends you Abraham and Moses and Noah and Jesus and Muhammad. So we think that God is supposed to send us the deliverer. That's ridiculous. Does the white man wait for God to send him a leader?
Nope.
He trains them at his military college. Is the Chinese waiting for God to send him a deliverer? He's training them in Shanghai. That's what he's doing. Nobody's waiting for God to do anything for them but Black people. And our over-dependence on the Almighty Creator, who we all depend on, is going to be the undoing of us, because everything we need to solve our problems, God had already gave us. I got news for Black people. God ain't helping you no more. And you know why God not going to help you? Because God gave you this planet, and God put you in charge, and God made you the greatest people and the oldest people, and you let these white folks crawl out the damn cave and come out and take everything that you got, and now you want to go crying to God to solve your problems because you're too scared to confront your oppressor. Fear is the enemy of liberation. We are afraid. We are scared of white folks. They have a shivering and shaking in our boots. The reason no Black leader on the planet, very few, is doing what they're supposed to do, and rest in peace to the president of Tanzania, Brother John Magufuli. He was one of the few. He was one of the few assassinated, whether it was the white power structure or the Chinese power structure. He was murdered. He was one of the few. And there's a few other ones who do the right thing, but most of them are stoned, trained by the white man, financed by the white man, and in love with the white man.
No disrespect to FBA, no disrespect to ADOS, no disrespect to the pretendian nation. But if you are divisive of the African family, or if you don't identify with the African family, if you are divisive of the African family, or you don't identify with the African family, you are not allowed at the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. This is for Africans.